Good morning students. In the last period, your third chapter, Fiber to Fabric is completed. Today I am going to start your chapter number 6, Physical Change and Chemical Change. Students, you may be remember that in the last academic year, one chapter is there, Changes Around Us, 6th chapter. In that chapter, we learn about can all changes remain same or any other product will be formed. Meaning, suppose any change will be there in that any new substance will be formed or after the change that same substance will be observed. In this chapter, we will learn briefly about physical change and chemical change and their examples. Now we will see the chapter. Every day you come across many changes in your surrounding. These changes may involve one or more substance. Now in our daily life we saw many more changes, and in that we can see that in that particular changes, maybe one substance is required or one substance will be involved or more than one substance will be there. Suppose baking of the food, preparation of the food in the kitchen, that time many more substances will be there. Boiling of water, only water will be there. In this way, for example, your mother asks to you dissolve sugar in water to make a cold drink. Dissolve sugar in a water to make cold drink. Making a sugar solution is a change. That is also change because sugar is dissolved in a water. That is also change. Similarly, setting of curd from milk is a change. Setting of curd from milk is a change. Sometimes milk becomes sour. Sometimes milk become sour. Sour, आंबट होने, खराब होने दूध. Souring of milk is a change. Stretched rubber band also represents a change. Also represent a change. Stretching of rubber band changes into the size. It also represent a change. Make a list of 10 changes you have noticed around you. You have to prepare in your notebook one chart you prepare, and in that you write changes. You write in first column changes and in the next column physical change and chemical change. After all the chapter when will be completed, that time you separate them, you bifurcate them in a physical change and chemical change. Now here see, in this chapter we shall perform some activities and study the nature of these changes. Broadly, these changes are two kinds, physical and chemical. Physical and chemical. In this chapter, we will learn about the physical change and chemical change, and many more activities are there. Now we will see the activity 6.1 and our first point from this chapter, physical changes. Now see the activity 6.1. Cut a piece of paper in 4 square pieces. In this activity, we have to take a piece of paper, then we have to cut the piece of paper into 4 square pieces. Cut each square piece further into 4 square pieces. Lay these pieces on the floor or a table so that the pieces acquire the shape of the original piece. The shape of the original piece of paper. Obviously, you cannot join the pieces back to make the original piece, but is there a change in the property of the paper? Property of the paper. Now here from the figure we can see that we have, for in this activity we have to take a 1 square paper. Afterwards we have to cut into the 4 square pieces. After these 4 square pieces, again we have to cut into the 4 square pieces as shown in the figure 6.1. and when we collect all these pieces and when we join them, when we keep them on the table, that time we cannot get the original piece of the paper. But these all the papers are called as an papers. Their property are not changes. It is called as an paper. Suppose we will take one piece, it is also called as an paper, and all pieces that also called as an paper only. It only changes into the size and shape. Size changes and shape will be changes. Now here activity 6.2. Collect the chalk dust lying on the floor near the blackboard in your classroom, or crush a small piece of chalk into dust. Here chalk dust will be available in our classroom also. Add a little water to the dust to make a paste. To make a paste, we can make the paste by adding water and roll it into the shape of the piece of chalk and let it dry. And did you recover chalk from the dust? Yes, we can recover the chalk from the dust because chalk is prepared from the chalk dust, and again when we add the water and when we dry it, roll it in the shape of the chalk, and when we dry it, that time we can recover the chalk easily. We can recover the chalk from the chalk dust. Now activity 6.3, take some ice in a glass or plastic tumbler. We have to take some ice in a glass or plastic tumbler. Melt a small portion of ice by placing a tumbler in sun. Placing a tumbler in sunlight. Now you have now a mixture of ice and water. After that, what will be happen when we take ice in a plastic tumbler and when we keep into the sunlight? Because of the sunlight, ice will be melt, and some part of the ice will be converted into the water, and that time we are having the mixture of ice and water. Now place the tumbler in the freezing mixture, ice plus common salt, and we have to, when it again keep into the freezing, again keep into the refrigerator, that time again it will be converted into the ice. Does the water become solid ice once again? Yes, the water will be converted into the solid. We are aware about that the water will be again converted into the solid ice material. Now next activity, activity 6.4. Activity 6.4, boil some water in a container. Boil some water in a container. You can do this activity in your home, and already you saw this activity. We have to take one vessel, in that we have to take some water and we have to boil it. And do you see the steam rising from the surface of the water? Yes, we can see that when water will be boiled, the steam will be releases from that water. Hold an inverted pan by its handle over the steam at the some distance and from the boiling water. Observe the inner surface of the pan, and do you see any droplet of the water? When we boil the water, and for that boiling we are covering this vessel from the plate by the plate, and when we stop the boiling, that time when we remove upper cover, upper plate, that time we can saw some tiny droplets will be present on that plate. ज्यावेळेस घरी आपण पाणी तापवतो आणि पाण्यावरती जी प्लेट ठेवलेली असते, प्लेट ज्यावेळेस रिमूव्ह करतो, त्यावेळेस त्या प्लेटवरती छोटे छोटे पाण्याचे ड्रॉपलेट्स तयार झालेले दिसतात, राईट? ते ड्रॉपलेट हिअर. नाव activity 6.5, here water will be converted into the steam, and again steam converted into the water. This change will be there. Now activity 6.1, next activity, be careful with the handling flame. It is activity on the flame. Now see the activity. Hold a used hacksaw blade. Hold a used hacksaw blade. We can take normal blade also, with pair of tongs, and keep the tip of the free end on the flame of the gas stove and wait for few minutes. Does the color of the tip blade will be changed? Does the color of tip blade will be changed? Yes, when we take a blade and on the upper side of the flame of the gas stove, after that because of that flame, the blade color of the blade will be changes. And remove the blade from the flame. Observe the tip once again. After some time, does it get back its original color? Now we are aware about that when in our home also, when any rod will be heated, it will be converted into the red color, and when it removes out and when it cool, that time it again get its original color. जेव्हा आपण लोहाराकडे जातो त्यावेळेस आपण काय बघतो की ते ज्यावेळेस भात्यामध्ये घालतात लोखंड आणि ते गरम होतं, त्यावेळेस ते लाल कलर मध्ये कन्वर्ट होतं, लाल कलर मध्ये होतं, आणि ज्यावेळेस ते थंड होतं ते परत त्याच्या नॅचरल कलर मध्ये येतं. नाउ from all these activities, what we found that in activity 6.1 and 6.2, you saw that the paper and piece of chalk underwent the changes of size. In the 6.1, cutting of paper will be there. In that, only size will be changed. In that, and piece of the chalk dust will be there, small particles will be there, and when chalk will be prepared, it is a big particle. Only size will be changes. In activities 6.3 and 6.4, water changes its state. water changes its state from solid to liquid and from gas to liquid. 6.3 activity, ice is melted into the liquid. Ice is melted into the water, and again we keep into the freeze. That time what will be happen? Again water will be converted into the ice. And next 6.4 activity, in that water will be converted into the gas. And again gas will be converted into the water. In the activity 6.5, the hacksaw blade changes the color on heating. And when cooling, that time again it gets its original color. Now properties such as shape, size, color and state of the substance are called its physical properties. Suppose any material will be there, their shape, their size, their color and their state, those properties are called as physical properties of that substance. A change in which a substance undergoes a change in its physical properties is called physical change. A substance, any substance will be there, and in a particular change, their physical properties will be changes, then it is called as a physical change. Which physical properties will be there? Shape, size, color and state. In 6.1 activity, their size of the paper will be changes. In 6.2, chalk powder size will be changes. Then 6.3, state will be changes, solid to liquid, and 6.4, gas to liquid, and 6.5, color will be changes. Here a physical change is generally reversible. All the changes are reversible. In the 6th standard we learn about the reversible change and irreversible change. All these activities will be reversible. Here cutting piece of paper, here we are getting paper again. And next one, chalk. When we prepare chalk, when we rub on the rough surface, that time again we will get the chalk powder. Next, the water changes into the solid to liquid and liquid to solid. Same in a gas to liquid and liquid to gas. In activity 6.5, when we heated, that time it will be changes into the color only. And again when we cool, that time it will be color. It gets its proper original color. Here, that's why it is called as a physical change, is generally called as a reversible change. In such a change, no new substance is formed. In the physical change, no new substance will be formed. That's why it is called as a physical change. Here in this change, most important, their physical properties, their examples, and how it is called as a physical change. And physical change is generally reversible change. And in this change, no new substance will be formed. You keep in your mind. In which change new substance will be formed? It will be for the chemical change. It is bifurcated into the chemical change. And where new substance will not be formed, it is physical change. Now let us now consider other kind of change. Now see the next point, chemical change. Now the chemical change. Now we will learn the concept about the physical changes and their examples. Now we will see our next point, chemical change. A change with which you are quite familiar is rusting of iron. लोखंड गंजणे हे आपण फॅमिलीर आहे त्याच्यासोबत, आपल्याला माहिती आहे, आपल्या घरामध्ये शाळेमध्ये कुठे ना कुठेतरी आपण पाहतो रस्टिंग ऑफ आयर्न. इफ यू लिव्ह अ पीस ऑफ आयर्न इन द ओपन or for some time, it acquires a film of brownish substance, and this substance is called rust. And the process is called rusting of iron. Now we are aware about that when any iron material will be kept in an open surface, that time what will happen? Because of water and because of oxygen, because of humidity, it will be acquires a brownish substance, and it is called as a rust, and the process is called as a rusting of iron. लोखंड गंजणे, ज्यावेळेस लोखंड हे उन्हामध्ये किंवा हवेमध्ये मोकळ्या हवेमध्ये आहे आणि पावसाच्या पाण्यामुळे किंवा ह्युमिडिटीमुळे त्याच्यावर ते गंजायला चालू होतं, ते गंजतं. सी, iron gets of parks or farmlands, iron benches kept in the lawns and gardens. Almost every article of iron kept in open get rusted. Kept in a open gets rusted. The iron gates in a parks or farmlands in a open areas. The iron any article of iron which is kept in the open surface will be get rusted. At home you must have seen shovels, फावड़े, and spade, kudal, getting rusted when exposed to the atmosphere. Exposed to the atmosphere. In our home also we can see that the shovels and spades, when it kept into the open surface, that time it will be also affected by the rust. And in the kitchen, a wet iron pan in our local language we can call as a tawa, भाकरी करण्यासाठी चपाती करण्यासाठी जो वापरतो, often gets rusted if left in that the state for some time. Rust is not iron. Keep in your mind, rust is a not iron. It is a different from the iron on which get deposited and which gets deposited. Here iron is different from the rust and rust is different from the iron. You keep in your mind, iron and rust both are different substances. Now up to this we will learn, and in this chemical change also many more activities are there, we will see in the next period.